Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining me, Dr. Simone, on another edition of Your Symmetrical Self with Dr. Simone. I'm going to do it a little differently today. I'm going to wait for everybody to log on and get in the chat room a little bit, but um, I'm not going to take breaks today. I'm going to try to get everything in that I need to get in. I will be taking calls today at 7:30 or after 7:30. If you feel like you need to call in and vent or tell me that I'm wrong, then do so. But tonight's show is not an indictment, and I will say that again. So while I'm waiting for everybody to join in, I want to say just a great hello, and that today was a an amazing, 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 amazing day. And I'm going to wait until other people come in, and before I tell what happened today. I just want everybody who's been involved with my brother's situation to really hear what I have to say before I say it. So I was thinking about doing something um, kind of new, kind of innovative. I want to do something called a sipping and situations, which means I want to, do venues all over or in different places where we all get together and we sip on some wine or we sip on some things and we have, conversations about situations. I was going to call it cocktails and conversations, but somebody told me that it was already taken by a Kardashian. And I can't take things from the Kardashians because they're going to be looking to sue me and I don't have Kardashian money. So, with that being the case, we're going to change it to something different. I'm going to be working on that with a few people just to see how we can get that together. I think it'll be fun. And it's just a whole lot of us coming together. And, women for the most part, I guess, men can come if they would like. And we're just going to talk about the things that are, I won't say bothering us, but things that we may have in common with other people that they may not think because they're from a different walk of, a different area of life. They may think, we're not jiving with each other on this or that, when in actuality, that's not true. Um, all right, this is what happened today. And this goes with what my cousin Phoenicia was talking about on Tuesday's show. What is today Tuesday? Sunday's show. Okay. This goes to faith. I want to tell everybody before I start speaking that if you know God and you have faith, you can get through anything. You can get through anything. As you know, we've all been praying for my brother, Samuel Christopher Moses Smith. We've all been praying for him. And we've been waiting for him to move and waiting for him to do certain things. So today, I get a text from my husband, and he says, Chris moved his finger today when the doctors asked him to, move his hand or whatever. And I said that what I was going to do was, as soon as I found out, whenever he did a movement, when they asked him, I don't care where I was, I could be in the middle of the street talking to President Obama, I don't care. I'm going to stop what I am doing and fall to my knees and thank my Heavenly Father for allowing that to happen. So I called my mother, and we're talking about it on the phone, and she says that the doctor came in, and my mother sounded great. Like, everybody's been praying for her and pushing for her, and I appreciate that. So she sounded great. And I said, what happened? And she told me what happened. And again, I began to cry because I am elated. So I say, put him on the phone, put my brother on the phone. So I'm talking to him and I'm saying, you are great. You are wonderful. You keep doing it, because the doctor had asked him to do something else and he was trying to do it, but it didn't happen in the time that the doctor wanted it to happen. So then, my mother said tears started to come down his eyes, which means he knows what's going on. So I get on the phone and I'm talking to him and I'm like, yeah, you are great. You are awesome. You're going to do it. Just don't worry about it. And, my mother gets back on the phone after I have my, football talk with him. And she's like, okay, baby, I'll talk to you later. And while she's getting ready to get off the phone, she's like, wait a minute. What? What? He started to try to move his lips. She said, he's trying to talk. He's trying to say something. He's trying to talk. He's trying to say something. And then when he was trying to say it, Next thing you know, tears started coming down his eyes again. I just want to say that don't ever tell God how big your problems is. Tell your problems how big your God is. Don't ever let anybody tell you that it is impossible, because with God, all things are possible. They told us that he was not going to do X, Y, Z. And now he's doing X, Y, Z, and A, B, and C. So I just wanted to throw that out there to let everybody know that your prayers are working. Continue to do so. Continue to pray for my mother as well. And I just want to say to my brother, if he's listening, if my mother has the show on, you are spectacular. You are strong. You are amazing. Keep moving that finger, and then the next day it'll be two fingers, and the next day it'll be a whole hand. Don't get discouraged and don't get frustrated. Just keep pushing through. You have all of us here praying for you. You have people all over the world praying for you. You are an inspiration, and everything that's going on is going to be for God's glory. Just keep doing it. Do not give up. Don't let anybody tell you what is or what isn't. If you have a relative in a hospital and they try to tell you it's not and it's impossible and it's this and it's that and it's the other thing, you look at them and you tell them, yeah, you say so, but my God knows better. I am amazed, and I'm just happy that I'm not crying right now, because it overwhelms me just to know that he is in there. He is trying. He is listening. He is a fighter, and he is my best friend, my best friend. So everybody, thank you for praying for him. Thank you for being there. Thank you for just all the support. And it's working. And I love you all for it. Hi, Lillian. Hi, Jason. Hi, Susan. Everybody who's coming into the chat room. Ducky, I wonder if you're going to call later. Okay, prayer list. I'm going to go through the prayer list really quick. Then I'm going to go through the acknowledgments really quick, because tonight's show, I need to, I guess, take all the time that I have, because I know some of you are going to be upset. And my feeds were going a little bit crazy. People were on them, and some people didn't like what I had to say, but it is what it is. Okay, prayer list. I want people to pray, continue to pray for JR and his daughter. They are both battling cancer. I want you to pray for Javier. He just had colon cancer surgery. That's Miss Lanning's brother. I want you to pray for Ilma and Edmilson. They're in Brazil. I can't say his name correctly, but I think, I'm doing an all right job. Hi, Tracy. The country of Brazil finally said that they were going to allow him to see a doctor. It's different over there than it is over here, so please keep praying for him. All the patients in the ICU unit, all of the patients, all of the doctors, all of the nurses and the techs, pray for my mom, for her continued strength, her continued tenacity, her continued resolve, her continued love for her children. Pray for my dad. He drives up to be with my brother and to be with my mom, and to, continue to check on things and do what he needs to do. And that ride is kind of long. So I want, continued prayers for him as well, because, he's fighting with it as well. He wants things to work for my brother's good and for the good of God, and, everything as well. And of course, I want you to pray for Samuel Christopher Moses Smith, my best friend. Continue to pray for him as he fights the good fight. Acknowledgements. Tracy, Susan, Kimberly, Lillian, Jason, everybody in the chat rooms, Chuck, Leisure. I want to say hello to everybody listening in Guyana. Yeah, that's South America. That's not around the corner. In Canada, and a couple people in India. And all over the country and wherever everyone is. Thank you for tuning in. My great sorority sister, Leisure, her and Chuck are like a tag team. Kim, who I just said hi to, she's a great person to work with, even though she can't draw trees. I'm going to keep saying that, Kim. Damir, my cousin Tamika, Ashley Christine, Roberta, my cousin Roberta, Jen, Anthony, my Aunt Anita, Bernard, Patricia Mathis. Oh, she's amazing. She is so anointed. I don't know if she wants me to tell her business right now, but there will be a time where I will be telling about her. Denard, my TDN, Aaron Brooks, Michael Watkins, Charity, Kimla, Jules, Portia Hargrove, everyone in Canada, everyone in Maryland, New York, and India. My mother, father, my husband, Bruce Charles Brown, Sydney, my daughter, who is in the bathtub, who I had to make sure she was in the bathtub and not running around with no clothes on. Everyone in all the chat rooms, and acknowledgments to my brother Chris. Um, that's about it. I'm wondering if I should maybe take a quick break here to let more people join the chat room and then start. So, Charity, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be right back while we let everyone come into the chat room so that we can start the topic of the evening. Stay tuned.
Divine Enlightenment with Susan Gratz is a show that offers inspiration, guidance, empowering messages, and insight on creating a better life path for you by using divine intervention. With years of experience from her own personal life experiences, combined with the divine guidance, knowledge, and research, she will help guide you on your own life path. Tune in on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on Beacon of Light Radio.
Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and so does psychic medium Bob Brown. England's renowned paranormal investigator will explore the world of the unknown with special guests that will thrill and expand your mind. Tune in to Over the Rainbow with host Bob Brown every Wednesday and Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. in the UK, right here on Beacon of Light Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. And thank you for joining me on another segment of Your Symmetrical Self with Dr. Simone. We're getting ready to start the topic now, but before I start the topic, I want to say that, number one, this is not an indictment on anyone. This is not an indictment on any sex. This is not to say that one sex does it and another one, would never, unless there's a reason. Like Ducky just said, let's have an open mind with everyone tonight. No harm, no foul. All right, Ducky, remember what you just said. So with that being the case, I'm going to tell you the topic of discussion, and I'm going to let it marinate for a couple seconds. If you have to play detective, it's time to change your relationship perspective. You accept what you tolerate. Now, at first, I wanted to do this with women because it's women, and me being a woman, I've been in this situation before, but it was when I was younger, but still I've been in this situation before where you're with someone and they're giving you this inkling of they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So therefore you figure I need to go and be a detective and see what I can figure out and see what I can come up with and see what, nice intricate plan I could do in order to see, if I can catch him in the act. Okay. I've done that when I, was a little bit younger. But as time went on, I decided, that's really not what a grown woman does. Now, we all have our different stages of when we decide we're going to get out of doing something like this, and some of us maybe haven't done it at all. Maybe some of us have just been those type of people that's like, look, he ain't acting right, she ain't acting right. Okay, fine, I'm not going to worry about it. But it's something about it, when we give our heart to people, that makes us open, and vulnerable to different things. So if you play detective, it's time to change your relationship perspective as you accept what you tolerate. We all have had times where we have suspected our loved ones of cheating. Just like I said, where we thought about trying to catch our partner, husband, or our wife in the act of doing what our insides were telling us they were doing. We base our suspicions on the fact that maybe they don't compliment us like they used to. They aren't home like they used to be. They take their cell phone in the bathroom, or, I catch them whispering on his phone, or they're very moody and they weren't really moody all the time. Why are they so booty. Or they're using a new perfume or a new cologne, or they're taking up new hobbies that either they weren't into before, or hobbies they wouldn't be into unless there was some reason for them to participate. We look at, he never or she never got on Facebook, or I used to have all the passwords and now I don't have the passwords. I don't know what's going on. Okay, we've all been in that. Now, sure, when we're in our teens and even our early 20s, like I said, I know I have been a part of these situations too, where we invite our friends and cousins, or we call them our road dogs, into devising a plot to catch our loved ones in the act. We want to catch them in their lies and their mess. And we're thinking that it's going to alleviate our stress. If I catch him, I'm going to know that I need to let him go. And I'm going to say him because I'm a woman. But trust me, I'm going to get on the men later. And then Ducky or whatever man would like to call up, you can call up. But right now I'm going with the women because I'm a woman, and we're thinking that, if I could just catch him and I just know that he is cheating, I'm going to let him go because I could do better. And, on and on and on. But when we are too old, to be playing these games and to be recruiting people for these games that only children should play, when are we too old to be doing that? What makes us accept what we tolerate? Now, it could be our hearts. It could be the fear of being alone. It could be, the fear of losing out, because some of us women are competitive and we're like, she is not going to get him from me. Nope. I'd rather be crazy and play the fool because Keisha over there thinks she's going to get my man Tom, but no, Tom going to stay here. Even though Tom is still messing with Keisha and Ro-Keisha and Mo-Keisha, but you still going to stay with Tom. And every time you break up with Tom, you catch Tom with one of them Keishas. And then when Tom come back to you after, either being with them, impregnating them, moving in with them, kicking it with them, you let Tom back in like you won a prize. Now, that's something that I just don't understand. And when I was younger, I guess, our minds aren't as mature as they should be. But in our mid to late 30s and 40s, yeah, we are a little bit too old to be, as we say, laying in a cut with a baseball hat and a baseball bat and a hoodie and some Vaseline on your face and some walkie-talkies to your girlfriends. Yo, is he over there? You see his car? Girl, go tumble into the bushes. Go tumble into. Okay, wait, go tumble. Yeah, that's him, girl. Yeah, we're a little too old for that. Putting on some old Nikes so we don't scratch up our good sneakers, and we waiting to catch him, or we waiting to snatch her, or we waiting to bash his car. I think in our mid-30s and our 40s and on and on and on, I think we're a little bit too old to be, trying to live that Jasmine Sullivan song. I bust the windows out your car. Yeah, I know y'all know the song, and if you don't, download it on YouTube. Jasmine Sullivan, bust the windows out your car. When we're in our 30s and 40s and we have jobs and we have children and we have other things, when do we say, I'm too old for this? I'm way too old for all of this. I'm way too old to be saying, let me call that girl I know he playing with. Let me see if she tell me what they're doing. Or let me go and make up a fake Facebook page and put a cute picture on there and see if he talked to this chick. Or, girl, he don't know what you look like. I need you to put on that dress that make your body look poom, pow, pow, pow. And he going to be at the club tonight. I need you to walk up to him and try to talk to him. And if he try to kick it with you, take a picture and let me see. All the while you sitting home looking crazy and wondering, I wonder if he going to talk to her. People will only do to you what you allow them to do. So why do you keep allowing him to do it? That's my question. When do we get old enough, or too old, I should say, for all the shenanigans? I'm going to tell you like this. If out of my 20s and into my, my 30s and my 40s, if I feel I got to go through your phone, go through your computer, lay in the cut, put on some Nikes, put some Vaseline on my face, get my girlfriends to try to talk to you, snoop through your email, try to, find your Facebook, that means that there's a problem there that I'm really trying to ignore for the simple fact that there's something going on with me that will not allow me to let this man go. If there's that much suspicion, then that means that you need to figure out where the suspicion is. I always say, be careful what you look for because you just might find it. And when you find it, don't be mad about what you found for the simple fact that something in you was already telling you what you were going to find anyway. Don't sit there and say, I'm going to give him one more chance and then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to give him another chance and I'm going to give him another chance. Well, this chance is going to be different. I'm going to give him, he said he won't do it again. After like 5, 6, 7, 8 chances, and he's still doing it, how many more chances does he get after that? Is this like a never-ending lamp where you rub it and you're just like, oh, he gonna get as many chances as he wants? Then you get mad when he continues to do what he does to you. And you're like, I don't understand it. You don't understand it because you're not looking at it. You don't understand it because you really don't want to face the fact that, number one, you keep giving your heart to this man or this woman, Ducky, that is not worthy of you. This person continues to do to you what they do to you, and they could tell you they love you until the cows come home and they're blue in the face. They're feeding you a whole lot of BS, and you eating it like it's caviar. So why should they change what they're going to do? And many times we say in passing conversation, because I've been with women, and I've been one of those women, I would never let a man do this. Or men say, well, I would never let a woman do that. If she ever did this or he ever did that, I'd leave him. Or if my woman, and men always say this, if my woman ever did such and such to me, there would be no coming back from that. Oh, no, you can't play the kid. You can't play the man. You can't do that. But I ask you, if you have so much self-esteem with others, when you're talking to your people, I'd never do that. You can't do that. But if you have that much self-esteem with others, then why does this man or woman have the ability to snatch all your self-esteem, your self-worth, your confidence, and not to mention your common sense when he or she opens their mouth, their wallet, or their pants after they've yet again left you, lied to you, denied you, hit you, clipped you, had relationships with others, brought babies into the world while still being with you? And yes, men have experienced this too. Don't say, oh man, a man wouldn't let a girl go out, get pregnant and have a baby with another man. He would never take her back. I'm going to tell you right now, no, that's wrong, because I've heard men and seen men and have known men who said, well, we were kind of rocky. And she went out and it was just a one night thing and she got pregnant. She should have played the lottery too when she got pregnant, because that one time led her to get pregnant. She should have played the lottery. She probably would have got a baby and a winning ticket at the same time. So men like to say, no, that don't happen to the man. It does. It does. Or why do we still stay with them when they have slept with your brothers or your bosses? Now, I have known people who have stayed with women, yes, women, who have slept with their brothers, who have had babies with their brothers, and then they take them back. And then instead of them having a problem between the girl and the guy, the two brothers have a problem. Now, they do have a problem because, number one, the other brother shouldn't have did that and that, But how you going to be mad at your brother and choose your girl over your brother when your girl had as much say in it as your brother did? You shouldn't take the girl back, and you should probably, figure things out with your brother. But again, it's always just women, that we do this. We bust the windows out the car. No, I've known men who have put bricks through a car. Remember that boy, that guy who was outside crying? You was my cinnamon apple. I loved you. And it kept going around the internet. I'm quite sure that he was calling for cinnamon apples, for the simple fact that that girl probably was doing some stuff and he kept taking her back, and he outside pleading, "Can use my cinnamon apple. I love you, girl. Why you do that?" Yeah. Cinnamon apples, they also go bad as well. So why do we go through these things when all he or she has to offer is great sex and a cure for needing a breathing body so that you won't be alone? Like, why is that so important? If you have, we always say women's intuition is so great. Women's intuition, we know stuff. Then if we know stuff, then why don't we act on the stuff we know? Why do we feel that we need to go after the men and play all these, reindeer games and stuff, when in actuality, he's going to do, like I said to you, what you allow him to do to you. And why do we always act so surprised when we catch him yet again doing what he's doing? Why is it that you can break up with him, right? And y'all can have your little timeout, and he go and find another girl in 5 minutes, but let you talk to a guy 4 or 5 minutes just getting directions, and he want to bust a window, he want to bust a lip, he gonna go crazy, he gonna get arrested. Why is that? But again, women and men, the fact still remains is you accept what you tolerate. Now, what I mean by you accept what you tolerate is if you keep letting it happen, even if you don't like it, that's just like saying, I accept it. I'm going to say that again. If you keep, being okay with the things that are happening, I'm going to tolerate it. That means in actuality, you're saying it's fine. It's fine to treat me like I'm, the bottom of your shoe. It's fine for you to go out and, argue with me and then go out and impregnate somebody or move in with somebody else or, do whatever you want to do. It's okay for that to happen with me. If you don't respect yourself, then why would you think that somebody after the 5th time of them stepping out on you and everything else, they're going to say, you know what? You're a good girl. Like that song, Brandy, you're a good girl. You think they're going to come back and say that to you? They're not. They're not. So what we need to do is we need to really sit here and say, what is it within me that makes me want to continue to tolerate this mess and continue to want to bust the windows out his car and continue to take everything that happens? What is it within me? Is it ever going to change if I don't make it change? So, like I said, some of the men got upset. Some of the men were, not feeling this topic, and I'm going to read something that was in one of my chat rooms. I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm going to read something that was in my chat room. One man said, wait, it's a huge difference. If a man plays detective, it's because he found it himself, or she changed, or she's fighting too much. I don't cheat, so I don't need to look into anyone's phone. If I think it, I'll ask. And if you lied, then you didn't want a relationship to begin with. Okay. Number one, I'm going to call foul on that. Now, you saying that the only reason that a man would go through his girl's stuff is because she done changed or she left her stuff open because she was being sloppy and next thing you know, he found it. No, boo-boo, that's not true. I want you to also know that men Facebook stalk too. Now, like I said, someone on my post today said that men don't do this unless you know what I just said. But to say that and to try to subscribe to that, I just want to say, and with all due respect, please step out of your delusions you are having about that. For I have spoken to men and heard from men who have done many insecure things like, change their names to Inspector Gadget or Jacques Clouseau. I have heard of men rigging phones, hiding in bushes, paying their boys to try to talk to their women, dressing up as other people, including trying to be cute women, to try to stalk their women at clubs or at work. They've hired private investigators. They've rigged cameras and recording devices in their homes or the homes of their girlfriends to catch them doing anything. And many times the men do these things because of their own guilty conscience for cheating on their partners. Now, I'm not saying, okay, like you said, I'm faithful. And if I feel like I have to go through her stuff, then I don't need to be with her. Great. The key part of that is you're faithful. A lot of times men do this because of their own guilty conscience. I've heard of men sitting there with a tape recorder under the bed. He hears his girl breathing and he is jumping up and down. That's a man in there. No, she's snoring. She's sleeping. You want to know why he's doing that? Because of his own guilty conscience. So we can't say that, men don't do this. And even if she has been cheating, and he had a reason to go through her stuff and everything else. He need to ask himself the question too. Why am I staying? Why am I there? So it's not just, okay, I don't cheat, so I'm not going to do it. You might find yourself in love with a habitual cheater and you might say never, don't ever say never, because you might find yourself, I'm going to rig this room and see what she's doing. And then as soon as she hit you with but baby, wait, see what had happened was, we was having problems. And what we say as women, you weren't giving me enough attention. You weren't telling me I was pretty. You weren't loving me. You always work. Okay, and then the man will buy it and say, you know what? I do always work, boo. I shouldn't have left you by yourself, boo. Oh my gosh. And then you take her back. And then every time you take her back after that, all she has to do is ramp up what she already did to make you come back to her in the first place. So let's ask the men the question as well, not just the women. When do you think that y'all are too old to be doing these things too? Why do you take this type of thing, just as women take this type of thing? And like I said, a lot of times it's because of their own guilty conscience, because they're cheating too. It's not, what is always good for the goose is good for the gander. Like, dudes and guys don't really like double standards. I'm going to say that again, and don't get mad. Men don't like the double standard. Now, a lot of times when a man is hiding in bushes and acting like a ninja and dressing in black night clothes and jumping out of trees talking about, "Hey, Keisha, I saw you, Keisha." That's my brother. You know my brother. There was a man in the car. He disappeared. He was missed, but he disappeared. I saw the man. Why are you acting like that? Because you just left Monique house 5 minutes earlier before you put on your ninja outfit. So why are you jumping out of trees? Men don't like that double standard. It's okay for them to go out and tap every tree in the forest and get some sap out of it. But as soon as his girl lean up against a park bench that might be made of wood, he got a problem. So men don't really do well with the double standards. But again, let's go back to the faithful men. Ask yourselves why you also let a woman do that with you. Ask yourselves that. Because again, it's not just the women. It's not just the women. We're not the only crazy ones, and I'm not going to call us crazy like we, need medicine. But sometimes we run ourselves so crazy. Girl, what I need you to do, I need you to do this. I need you to call this person up. I need you to act like that. What? Girl, what you want me to do? Huh? No, can't do that. Girl, create a fake Facebook page and say your name is Bukisha. I don't even look like a Bukisha. I'm not going to do that. So, with all of that being said, there are questions that remain, and I have a lot of questions, and you could chime in, you could call in, you can answer them. But one of my questions is, do we allow these people back in our lives who mistreat us, cheat us, procreate on us, hit us, and the list goes on, because it's a cycle we have seen growing up? What I mean by that is it social learning theory? You grew up in a house where your mom let this happen to her with your father time and time again. And then she got a boyfriend after mom and dad got, the divorce, and then she got a boyfriend, and the boyfriend did this time and time again. Is it because that's what you see growing up? Is that because, it's normal to you? There's no cycle to be broken. There's just all is what you've seen. Is it easier to have, when I was talking about the self-esteem earlier, is it easier to have self-esteem and to not tolerate things from others who do not have our hearts or our vulnerable sides? So in essence, when we're standing around and be like, girl, let me tell you, a man got one good time to put his hands on me and he out. Meanwhile, you hiding behind some big old shades. Or, girl, a man got one time to cheat on me. It's done. Or I'll even give you one better. Girl, a man got one time to cheat on me and have a baby. I'm out. Why is it so easy for us to have that self-esteem in front of those other people? Is it because they don't have our hearts and they don't see our vulnerable sides? Is that it? Because as soon as the person who has our hearts does these things, we're just kind of like, but I love you. We turn into Lenny Williams. I think that's the man's name that's always crying about he love you. I can't stand that song. Kim in the chat room, can you figure out what that man's song is? Because I don't like it, but you know what song I'm talking about. For we know that on any given day, we would not tolerate a quarter of what we get from those who we love from someone else on the outside of that circle. So let's just say somebody in our circle does something that is disrespectful to us or makes us feel uncomfortable. We would be, in 5 seconds or less, we'd be up in their face, slapping somebody, talking about, girl, no, you didn't. Dude, how you would disrespect me like that? We would be up in their face trying to just go ahead and squash the whole situation. But when the person that's supposed to love us and cherish us and hold our hearts and be there for us does this, we just say, well, it's because, well, all right. Well, I'm going to have to give them another chance. We are ready to fight someone if someone just cuts us off at a red light. I know me, for instance, I ain't going to lie. Let somebody cut me off at a red light. Now, people who know me know I have road rage. I'm a doctor, but I am not perfect. Now, somebody cut me off at a red light. I'm in the mood to punch somebody sometimes, especially if I got my daughter in the car and somebody cuts me off like somebody did last week. Somebody cut me off. They were trying to speed and wouldn't let me in. Oh, do you know I got the Cadillac up to like 90 and got right in front of that person and was about to, yeah. But with that being the case, let's say I'm back in my younger days or whatever, and somebody I love just told me they're having a baby with somebody else. Why would I take them back for that? I'm ready to fight somebody at a red light, but let somebody else do some stuff to me like that, and then I'm ready just to go ahead and take them back. Do we get stuck on the good times that we neglect to notice the frequency and the severity of the bad times? Also, we can have somebody. In other words, when we're going through these things with somebody and we're trying to figure out, why does he keep doing this to me? Why does she keep doing this to me? Then we sit down and we have our little glass of wine or whatever, and then we get stuck on the good times that we, neglect to notice the frequency and the severity of the bad times. He could have just came back into your life and told you, yeah, I need to tell you that I just slept with your cousin. And me and her have been sleeping together for 3 months, and I just found out that she having a baby. And yeah, I'm gonna give you some time to think about it and digest it. But know that I love you, girl. Know that I love you. Or some woman saying to her man, oh, your brother was here when you weren't. So I just did what I did. But I'm going to give you, some time to go ahead and think about it. But just know that I love you and I'll never do it again. So you're sitting there by yourself and you're thinking about what has just happened to you. And instead of focusing on the mess, you start focusing on, I remember that time we went to Seaside Heights. And he bought me a candy apple for the first time, and we ate it together. He's a sweet person because he buys candy apples. Candy is sweet and apples are delicious and they're good for your health. So if I put 2 and 2 together, he's not such a bad man. I remember one time he paid for the electricity to be turned back on. Meanwhile, he leave the lights on and the TV on all the time, so he should be paying for something, but that's a whole nother sidebar. And then you start to forget that he just came in and told you, boo-boo, guess what I done did again? Guess what's happening again? But I'm going to play you like I always play you. And then the girl, instead of looking at what he's doing, starts to go and stalk the girls that he's doing it with. Remember this, the other person has no allegiance to you whatsoever. So if you're calling them up, asking them, why are you sleeping with Fuquan or why are you sleeping with Keisha? All I got to do is say, because I want to. I'm not related to you and I don't owe you no explanation. Click, click. So why is it that we go for the other people and we try to justify what our people are doing by going after the other people, saying that they just tempt you. They was tempting them. No, they wasn't tempted. That's just what they always do. Or is it a part of our competitive spirits that keep us, or keeps you there because you refuse to lose out to that other person who is trying to take what you think is yours? But in all actuality, if something or someone is truly yours, there would not be any competitions or fighting about it at all. Obviously, the person you love, you are fighting for, is sharing your goods with others. And no matter how you cut it, that shouldn't ever be the case. Nor should it ever be tolerated. But again, you accept it and you accept what you tolerate. So you cannot blame them for doing to you what you accept. Case in point, I'm going to give you a story and I'm not going to name any names. Growing up, I have this person that I know who's like family. Her man, I'm going to be honest with you, was a complete and utter and disgusting dog. He would be with other women in front of her. She was having his baby. Somebody else was having his baby. These two women were at odds with each other. He didn't know if he wanted to be with the one girl or the other girl. Plus, he had a whole lot of other girls he was messing with. So instead of the one girl who was like family saying, I'm going to let him go. I'm not going to even deal with him. I know I'm having this baby, but I can raise this baby on my own. She went and was arguing with the other girl, and they were in a fight over this dude who had no job, who couldn't even get out of high school. I mean, and he was in his mid-20s, still in the 12th grade. So that should have told you right there he wasn't gonna have no prospects for no job, but still, you know. So she didn't want to lose. She didn't want to look like a loser. I'm not gonna be the one having a baby and losing out and looking like I done lost this man. So she accepted everything that he was doing. It was fine as long as she did not look like she lost him. She was that competitive and wanted to save face so bad that she had arguments and fights with this other lady who was also pregnant, but she won him. And she got married at like 8 months pregnant, waddling down there, but she married him though. Now, you can ask yourselves, you could probably figure out what happened after they got married. Do you think he stayed faithful? Do you think he said, you were glowing when you had my child, and I realize now that you are the greatest thing since sliced bread and toilet paper, and I'm going to be faithful to you? No. He went and cheated on her again and again and again and again and again and again. I believe he even had another baby with somebody else while they were married. But yet she continued to keep him. And then she was miserable. And then she finally, after years and years and years and years and years, divorced him. But my thing is this: why did it take you years and years and years and years and years? You saw the writing on the wall before you even dropped your first child, before y'all got married. So why did you do that? Because I wasn't going to lose out. So is there part of a competitive nature that makes us do this, men and women? I want to be the winner, but you should really ask yourself, what is it that you're winning? What are you winning? You are winning a piece of a person who does not respect you, love you like you love them, and they're going to do exactly what you accept and tolerate for them to do. Do we forget the list of things that, we've said to ourselves that we would not take under any circumstances because you had him or her first? Like, in other words, do we say, I'm not going to accept you doing this, and I'm not going to accept you doing that, and under no circumstances will this be tolerated. But if it looks like he's going to go back to the other girl or she's going to go back to the other guy, we kind of find a way to make an exception. Why do we do that? And then we sit down and we look at it and we say, oh, but I'm hurt, but you keep hurting me. I don't know. This doesn't make any sense to me. Is it that on some level you don't think you deserve better? Like, I just want to, is it because something inside of you is telling you don't deserve better? If you could write down what you have, what you want, and what you deserve, do they even look the same? Do those lists look the same? If you sat down and you wrote down what you have right now and you be honest with yourself, what you want and what you deserve, do they look the same? What you want and what you deserve may look the same, but what you have, does that even look like what you want or deserve? Which list looks the most depressing? Which one looks the most depressing? Now imagine your daughter in the same relationship you're in, because children learn what they live. How does that make you feel to put your daughter or your son in the same situation that you keep tolerating and accepting? How would that make you feel? And I know as a mother, you will be the first one trying to rip that man's whole entire world apart. You'll be the first one talking about, nah, he is not going to treat my baby bad like that. My baby deserves better. I don't know why he keep treating her like that. But then you should ask yourself, where did she learn this from? Where did she learn this from? Where did she learn to accept what she tolerates? Although you told her, now you told her with your mouth, you told her not to accept or settle for less, but you showed her that it was okay for you, her role model, protector, and friend, to be treated poorly. So how would you expect her to not go through the same thing you went through, even though you told her not to, if she saw you going through it? Now, how hypocritical would that look? You walking in there talking about, yo, Joey, meet me outside. It's time for me and you to fight. Because how are you going to treat Antoinetta like this? She loves you. She treats you well. She pays the bills. She has your children. She tolerates your drinking when you don't have a job. How do you treat her like that? But then your daughter Antonella can turn around and say, but mommy, didn't you allow daddy to do that? Or mommy, didn't you allow your boyfriend to do that? And what can you say to her? Can you say, no, it doesn't matter what I did. It matters what you do. No, because children learn what they live and they learn by example. So think about it when you're letting all this happen. Think about the example that you're giving to your daughter. And men, imagine your son having to go through trying to trap his girl or his wife. And when he does, he just takes her back. Daddy, I've rigged the house like I saw you do. And I caught her. Oh, where is Gina? Oh, well, right. We talked about it. I let her back. What can you say to him about being a man, about his relationships, and about not tolerating the mistreatment and the mistrust? Only for him to say, well, Dad, didn't you let the woman in your life treat you the way that I'm being treated now? It's not always just about us, because the older we get, the more people watch and the more we become examples. And sometimes we're examples for people and we don't even know it. So if someone is looking up to you or they're in your sphere or your area when, you're raising your children and you're going through your things, if they see you tolerating it, what makes you think that they're going to know any better? It's kind of like, remember that commercial? And I want everybody in the chat room who remembers this commercial say, I do. Remember that commercial where the father comes in and the little boy is smoking weed and the father gets in his face and he's like, what are you doing? How did you learn how to do that? What do you do? You know we don't do that. And the little boy turns around and he's like, I learned it by watching you. And the father is like, oh my gosh. Yeah, same thing. You can't go to your daughter or your son and say, how are you letting this happen? What are you doing? You know better. I don't know why you're doing this. And they look and said, I learned it by watching you. You can't be upset. What you need to do is figure out what's in you. And it could be something from your childhood as well. Like I said, a cycle that makes you tolerate all this mess, that makes you want to take off your one hat and put on a detective hat and play Inspector Gadget. What makes you want to do that? What inside you makes you feel that you're not worthy enough to not have to do that? You are complicit in how you were treated if you accept and tolerate what is being given to you. I'm going to say it one more time. You are complicit in how you were treated if you accept and tolerate what is being given to you. In all actuality, you have the power of your happiness in your own hands. But first, you must take your heart out of the hands of those who mistreat it. How do you think it makes you look acting out of character that is way beneath you and that you would call another person stupid for? And I'm going to say that again. How does that make you look and feel acting all out of character? But if the roles reversed and you saw some other woman acting like that or some other man acting like that, you would call them crazy. You would call them stupid. You say, you look a hot mess acting like that. You look a hot mess with grass stains on your pants because you was hiding under the window of Tisha's house trying to see if her old boyfriend Mario was over there. You look a hot mess. But then next week, you going to be under somebody's window doing the same thing. How does that make you feel? But even deeper, how does, in your quiet time, your acceptance of the mistreatment that you're getting make you feel? Do we ever sit down and we take the time to say, I'm feeling kind of low right now, and I keep letting him treat me this way? Maybe I need to sit down for a second and feel what this feels like. How does, in your quiet time, your acceptance of your mistreatment make you feel? Are you ashamed of your actions, or do you negate the feelings of being ashamed with excuses as to why, you have to become Sherlock Holmes? Like, do you sit there and, instead of me feeling bad about this, instead of me sitting here and saying this is something that's beneath me, you instead try to come up with excuses as to why it's okay for you to get fake Facebook pages and fake numbers and call all these women or call all these men or put cameras in your house or put, little recording devices in bedrooms or going to clubs and saying, all right, dude, I need you. She gonna have on black tonight and red shoes. I need you to go find that girl with the black and the red and see if she talked to you. Come on now. The excuses should not make you, negate what's going on. Your mother didn't name you Sherlock or Holmes or Jacques Cousteau. So why do you feel the need to do that? And every time you become a detective, does the person in question that you keep catching and who keeps pledging his or her love and that he or she is going to change, do they actually change for you? I'm going to say that again. And every time you become that detective or that Jasmine Sullivan busting windows out of cars and taking people back and trying to snoop and find out because it's going to be over this time. Every time you become the detective, there's the person in question that you keep catching, not caught once, but keep catching, and who keeps pledging his or her love and saying that they're going to change. Do they actually change for you? If they haven't changed after the first time, what makes you think they're going to change after the second time or the third time or the fourth time or the fifth time or the first baby or the second baby or the third baby? What makes you think they're going to actually change? Are you going to start looking different, being different? Are you going to turn into Superwoman? Are you going to tie them to a chair and only hand feed them baby food and they can't leave the house? Like what do they actually change? And how do you make them change? Especially if you accept what you tolerate. And a lot of times these people say, I know she's going to catch me, but she's going to take me back anyway. Or I know he's going to catch me, but he going to take me back anyway. It really doesn't matter. Do they actually stick to the agreement set forth upon allowing them to come back, or do they just do just enough for just long enough to get back into your good graces before they go back to who they are and who they know you'll tolerate them to be? Do they actually say, okay, you said I can't go out with my friends every Friday. I can only go out one Friday and I have to call you and whatever agreement you come with when you say, I'm going to take you back this time, but see, if you do it again, it's over. Do they ever keep with that agreement, or do they just do it long enough to get in your good graces, or do they just do it long enough so that they'll know that it's a good amount of time for them to go ahead and cheat again, or do they want to cheat again because they know you're going to tolerate what it is? And when you see these things happening, when you see these red flags, what do you do to stop it? Do you do anything? I have a lot of questions because I don't think anyone should be going through this. I think that we have such great power within us that if we only decide to love ourselves first and treat ourselves the way we decide and want to be treated, then all of this extra tomfoolery would not be happening. We wouldn't be sitting there saying, why does he keep doing this? Why does she keep doing this? I'm a good person. Maybe one of these days he or she will see that I'm a good person. This is not an indictment, but rather enlightenment. For if you actually know better, believe you deserve better, then you'll do better. That's what I think. We as women need to not tear each other down, but build each other up. Let's stop fighting over messiness and get back to sisterliness. That's what I'm thinking. Like I said, this is not an indictment, but rather enlightenment. For if you actually know better, believe you deserve better, then you'll do better. You know, people always say, if you know better, then you'll do better. Well, it makes you look crazy if you keep doing the same thing over and over. That's the insanity, the definition of insanity. Keep doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results, thinking something else is going to change. It's not. You know better. You should do better. We, as women, are the ones who carry the babies, the ones who keep families together, the one who has a lot of power. But once we give that power away to other people, and we sit back and we become powerless, and then we become mindless because we lose our minds over these people, where do we go from there? Why do we always believe that we have to blame other people for everything that happens? When in actuality, if we love ourselves the way we love these people who don't deserve the love, then those people who don't deserve the love wouldn't be with you in the first place. And you'd have room enough in your life to have somebody who's going to, give you the love you need and, reciprocate what you're giving them. A lot of times we look at things and we say, well, I have been with him for years. And if you keep being with him for years after this, you're going to wake up and be 82, shriveled up, can't walk, and can't get no other man. And men could go out there and make babies until they've gone off the earth. So it don't mean that because you 80, he going to be in the house. That don't really matter. That doesn't. So my thing is this: each day and each second you let slip by and you give somebody all this power over you, What do you have? What can you impart on someone else? What can you impart on your daughter, on your child? Bottom line, if you feel you have to check, then that's the first sign something may be wrong. And don't get upset with what you find when you check, especially if you had the idea he was cheating and you stole him or her from another person. That's another thing. The way you get them is the way you lose them. So even if, let's just say hypothetically, he's not even doing anything, but you stole him from somebody else, and you remember you was that side chick. You was that girl that was, sleeping and creeping and everything else. I'll do for you what your girl won't do for you. All you gotta do is be with me. And all of a sudden he don't answer his phone quick enough. You're gonna be doing Inspector Gadget for no reason, because the way you get him is the way you lose him. The way you get him is the way you lose him. So that also plays into it. But the bottom line is this. Again, this was not an indictment on anybody. This was just a wake-up call, because I've had men and I've had women in the inbox and everywhere else saying, this is what's going on, that is what's going on. I've heard women say, this is what I need you to do for me. Well, why would you want that to happen when this is your 15th time taking him back and his 13th time leaving and moving in with somebody different or doing whatever you're doing? Why would you accept that? If you don't think you're beautiful, if you don't think you're worth it, if you don't think you're worth respect and dignity and loyalty, then what makes you think that he's going to even think that you're worth that either? Especially if you picked up a liar and a cheater and a dog in the first place. Men, if you meet her in the club and she got a drink from one dude, but you bought a more expensive drink, that's not the girl you want to take home to your mama. Because just like you bought her a more expensive drink and she went home with you, let somebody buy her a bottle of champagne, you left too. My thing is this, like I said, you accept what you tolerate. If you feel that you have to be a detective, you need to change your relationship perspective. When you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s and you outside fighting with somebody, or you're sitting there talking about, I know my girl, I'm going to call her up and we going to go sit outside this other girl house. She going to have on her hoodie and we going to see if he come out. Or if you say, ooh, let me see if this dude that I'm talking to goes and visit his baby that he just had with another girl after I took him back. You deserve a whole lot better. But if you don't stand up for yourself, what makes you think anybody else going to stand up for you? What makes you think you're going to get what you deserve if you don't demand what you deserve? And if you continue to take somebody who continues to take you, then you will be taken for a ride. Remember that. Love yourself first. Put yourself first. Think about the example that you're setting. In your quiet time, think about how you feel, not only when that person cheats on you and mistreats you and hits you and has babies on you, but when he takes you out of your character and you're sitting there crying and smoking and drinking and bashing windows and looking through Facebook and climbing through windows and having your friends call up, hello, my name is such. Think about how you feel. And if you feel like this is beneath you, then it is. Don't sit up there and criticize somebody else who's doing it if you're doing it as well. And men, if you're cheating and you feel that you got to become Inspector Gadget and your girl's not doing anything, you're going to lose a good girl. You want to know why? Because your whole entire conscience is messed up from what you're doing. Now, everybody's not perfect. I know everybody's not perfect. I'm not perfect either. But all I want to say is, you don't have to live so imperfectly. If you want better, do better. If you want to be loved, love yourself first. If you want respect, demand respect. If you don't want to be Inspector Gadget, then let go of that dude or that woman who is putting you through changes. And don't think that one day he's just going to wake up and he's or she is just going to be your knight in shining armor, because they're not. You need to be your own knight in shining armor. Get your own horse, jump on it, and ride off into the sunset. That's what you got to do. Now, if I hurt anybody's feelings tonight, I'm sorry. If I made anybody feel like it was an indictment, I used no names. And a lot of things that I was talking about are from the past, from past things that I've known about. But again, if you know better, you'll do better. If you can't get out of your own way, don't think that somebody else is going to help you get out of your own way. They're going to keep running over you and taking you for granted until you say enough is enough. That is my time. It is 8 o'clock. If you want to say anything to me in the chat room, go right ahead. If you're a man who is upset with what I say, go right ahead. But you know it's the truth. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for tuning in. And I pray that the rest of this week is wonderful and fantastic. And continue to pray for my best friend, my beautiful, awesome brother, and my mom and my dad and all of us. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Give thanks that you're alive, and give thanks that you can breathe and eat turkey and laugh, because some people can't do the little things that you take for granted. I love y'all. Peace out.